At 4 a.m., a father walks into his baby girl's room and finds her crib empty. No cries, no broken window, no trace, just silence. And from that moment on, silence would become the loudest scream in the Lisa Irwin case. What happened to the baby who vanished without a sound? And why, 14 years later, does no one have the answer? Before we dive deeper into this heartbreaking mystery, take a moment to support stories that matter. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and follow Legacy Ignited for more true stories that deserve to be heard. Because the more people who see this, the closer we get to the truth. It was a quiet night in Kansas City, Missouri, October 3rd, 2011. The streets were still, the air turning crisp as autumn settled in. Inside a modest home on North Lister Avenue, a 10-month-old baby girl named Lisa Irwin was tucked into her crib. Her parents believed she was safe. They had no idea that the night would end in a mystery that still baffles the world to this day. At 6:40 p.m., Deborah Bradley, Lisa's mother, said she last saw her daughter. A normal bedtime routine, bottle kisses, a lullaby. The baby girl with soft cheeks and wide blue eyes drifted off to sleep. Or so her mother said. Lisa's father, Jeremy Irwin, was working late as an electrician. He returned home around 4 a.m., and everything felt wrong. The front door was unlocked. Several lights were on. A window was open. Their dog, usually alert and barking, was completely silent. And most disturbing of all, Lisa's crib was empty. Panic set in immediately. Jeremy called 911. Police arrived quickly. But what they found, or didn't find, sparked one of the most perplexing disappearances in American true crime. There was no sign of forced entry. No shattered glass. No blood. No physical evidence that anyone had come in or gone out. Just a baby missing. And two parents with questions swirling around them. Deborah told police she had put Lisa to bed at 10:30 p.m. But that timeline started to unravel. Under pressure, she admitted that she might have been wrong. Maybe she put Lisa to bed much earlier, around 6:40. And then she confessed something else. She had been drinking that night. Enough to forget. Enough to make her timeline fuzzy. She didn't remember if she'd checked on Lisa again, or if she'd locked the doors. This wasn't just a mother's worst nightmare. It was also the perfect storm of uncertainty. Investigators began combing through the house. They brought in cadaver dogs, crime scene technicians, and search teams. Helicopters buzzed overhead. Volunteers flooded the neighborhood. But there were no footprints. No broken locks. No signs of struggle. Lisa Irwin had vanished, cleanly, quietly, and completely. Then came another strange clue. The family cell phones were missing. All three of them. Who takes cell phones during a kidnapping? Were they stolen in a robbery gone wrong? Or hidden for another reason? The mystery deepened when it was discovered that one of the phones had been used around 2:30 a.m. to call a woman named Megan Wright. Deborah said she didn't know her, but the call was real. Megan confirmed she received it, though she claimed the phone wasn't in her possession that night. It had been used by her ex-boyfriend, a man with a history of criminal behavior. Could that call have been a breadcrumb or a red herring? Lisa's case caught national attention. Cable news anchors, internet sleuths, and millions of viewers around the country watched as the story unfolded. Some believed the Irwins were victims. Others believed they were hiding something. And then the dogs. Cadaver dogs brought into the home picked up a scent of human decomposition near Deborah's bed. The suggestion was chilling. Had Lisa died in the house? Had something happened to her and then been covered up? But again, no physical evidence. No body. No blood. No confession. Just a scent and suspicion. As the pressure mounted, Deborah reportedly failed a polygraph test. According to her, police told her she failed the question, "Do you know what happened to Lisa?" She insisted, "No, absolutely not." But in the court of public opinion, the damage was already done. Faced with growing scrutiny, the Irwins hired an attorney. They stopped answering police questions. They stopped cooperating. And the media turned on them. Still, Lisa was gone. And while the world argued over who was to blame, the most heartbreaking truth remained. A baby had disappeared, and no one could say how or why. As days turned into weeks, The search for Lisa Irwin expanded, but the trail only grew colder. Every corner of the neighborhood was searched. Creeks were drained. Trash bins, sheds, even abandoned homes. Nothing was left unchecked. Volunteers, detectives, even psychics stepped in, hoping to find something, anything. But Lisa had vanished without a single trace. And then came the sighting. A neighbor told police that around 2:30 a.m., she saw a man walking down the street, cradling a baby in just a diaper. No blanket, no shoes. No one recognized him, and he was never found. Was a real sighting, or a trick of the night? Another neighbor reported something odd too. She claimed the lights in the Irwin home were still on much later than Deborah had said. She noticed movement inside. Small details, maybe. But in a case with no clear answers, every inconsistency screamed for attention. Meanwhile, the media storm swirled with intensity. Talk shows, podcasts, and crime analysts dissected every word Deborah and Jeremy said. Every tear, every facial twitch. Some called Deborah manipulative. Others said she was simply broken, a mother drowning in pain. Then came the theories. Theory 1. Lisa had been kidnapped. A stranger had slipped in and out silently, possibly through the open window. Maybe the family had forgotten to lock the door. Maybe someone had been watching the house, waiting for the right moment. But there were no footprints, no fibers, no DNA, nothing. Theory 2. Lisa had died in the home, possibly from an accident. Some speculated co-sleeping gone wrong. Others wondered if alcohol had clouded Deborah's judgment. Could Lisa have fallen, choked, been left unattended? And if she had died accidentally, could fear have led to a desperate cover-up? The cadaver dogs alert near the bed haunted people, but still no body, no confession, no trace. Then came Theory 3, perhaps the darkest of them all. Human trafficking. Lisa Irwin was young, blonde, blue-eyed, a baby that fit the profile traffickers might target. Was someone tipped off that Deborah was drinking that night? Did someone know the house was vulnerable? Could the missing phones, especially the call made at 2:30 a.m., be the link? The woman on the receiving end, Megan Wright, insisted she didn't know the Irwins, but she admitted others used her phone. One of them, a man with a record, suspicious, but not enough to charge. Lead after lead fizzled out. The man carrying a baby in the dark was never identified. Tips from nearby towns, where a woman claimed to see a baby who looked like Lisa, turned out false. The FBI joined the case. So did the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Age progression photos were made. Flyers were posted in truck stops, gas stations, bus terminals. Still nothing. And through it all, the pressure on Lisa's parents never stopped. To some, their silence was self-preservation. To others, it looked like guilt. Jeremy Irwin remained quiet, barely speaking to the media. Deborah gave interviews, but they always carried the same aching message. We didn't hurt our daughter. We just want her back. But the public was divided. Some people sent them prayers. Others sent death threats. Deborah once said the hardest part wasn't the accusations, it was the silence. The crib that stayed empty. The baby clothes that would never be worn. The sound of nothing where laughter used to be. Theories kept circulating. Rumors spread online. Reddit threads dissected the floor plan of their home. Facebook groups pointed fingers. YouTubers posted timelines. And true crime fans tried to solve the case from their bedrooms. But real leads? Real answers? They never came. And as the years ticked by, something even worse than fear began to settle in. The possibility that Lisa Irwin might never be found. That her story might end with a question mark. But her parents, they never gave up. They released birthday messages every year. They shared the age-progressed images. They told the world, we still believe. We still hope. Because to stop hoping would be a second kind of death, one no parent should ever endure. Years passed. The cameras left. The media moved on. But the Irwin family couldn't. To the world, Lisa Irwin was a mystery. A headline. A cold case. But to her parents, she was still real. Still their baby. And every November 11th they sang Happy Birthday to a child who never returned. In quiet moments, Deborah Bradley has spoken about the weight she carries. Not guilt in the legal sense, she insists, but the unbearable guilt of a mother who couldn't protect her child. The torment of not knowing if Lisa was scared, if she was safe, if she was even alive. "I didn't kill my daughter," she's repeated in interviews, "but I'll blame myself every day until I die." Jeremy Irwin, more reserved, shows his pain in silence, in the way his eyes avoid the camera, in the way he clutches Lisa's photo like it's the last fragile link to her existence. Despite public suspicion, neither parent has ever been charged or officially named as suspects. But rumors are stubborn. Once planted, they grow. And in Lisa's case, they never stop growing. Theories continued to haunt the investigation. Some clung to the idea of stranger abduction. Others believed Lisa died in that house, and someone covered it up. A few were convinced she had been trafficked, sold, taken, lost into the shadows. But without evidence, all the public had were questions. The FBI kept Lisa on their radar. Her name stayed on the National Missing Persons Registry, and the age progression photos became more haunting each year. Not just because of what they showed, but because of what they didn't answer. In 2013, hope flared again. A young girl with similar features was discovered in a Romani camp in Greece. She didn't match anyone in the region, and people whispered, "Could it be Lisa?" DNA proved it wasn't. In 2018, a teenage girl arrived at a homeless shelter claiming she was Lisa Irwin. Investigators moved quickly. But again, it wasn't her. Each false lead reopened wounds that had never fully healed. And yet, the family continued to speak her name, continued to imagine her growing up, safe somewhere. They kept the nursery untouched for years, a shrine to memory, to belief, to the unthinkable hope that she might still walk through the door. Deborah once said, "As long as I'm alive, I will believe she's alive too. Because what's the alternative?" And that's what's most terrifying about this case. Not just the disappearance, but the silence that followed, the dead ends, the shadows, the nothingness. Because in most true crime cases, there's at least a clue, a trace, a trail. But in Lisa's case, there was just a baby. And then nothing. No screams, no witnesses, no ransom, no confession, no closure. Her story became one of the most chilling unsolved mysteries in American history. Some detectives believe the truth will eventually come out, that someone somewhere knows exactly what happened that night, that a conscience will crack, that guilt will surface, that a hidden truth will no longer stay buried. It only takes one tip, one phone call, one whisper, and maybe that's the person watching this video now. Maybe it's you. If you know anything at all, about the disappearance of Lisa Irwin, speak up. Your voice could bring her home. This isn't just a story. It's a real child, a real family, a real wound that never healed. Lisa Irwin was 10 months old when she vanished. Today, she'd be 14, maybe in high school, maybe making jokes, maybe discovering who she is. But instead, her face lives in digital renderings, in birthday candles never blown out, in the minds of people who refuse to forget. And we won't forget, because this story deserves an ending. Lisa deserves the truth. And until we have it, we'll keep telling her story. Not for views, not for drama, but because silence is the greatest crime of all. And Lisa Irwin's story is not over yet.